You'll be having class here also, but that's a more memorization class. We'll discuss inshallah. Okay, Bismillah. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man wala. In the last lesson we spoke about the hadith Man salaka tariqan yabtaghi fihi ilma Sahalallahu bihi tariqan ila jannah. Whoever traverses a path seeking knowledge, Allah eases the path to paradise. One of the primary messages of this hadith is to tell believers about the importance of seeking knowledge. In Islam, knowledge, ilm, is number one. Flowing from ilm you have ibadah. Because how can you make ibadah without knowing who your Lord is? How can you make ibadah without knowing how to pray? The adab with your Lord. So number one is ilm. And the path to transformation in Islam is the path of ilm. That's why the first verse is Iqra. Second verse is وَالنُّونُ وَالْقَلَمِ وَمَا يَسْطُرُونَ, the pen and that which it writes. It's about seeking knowledge. So in the eyes of Allah and according to the hadith, the student is of a much higher level than the worshipper. The student of deen is on a much higher level than the person who is worshipping. Therefore normally the adab, it's like a strange thing to say, is that like when we were students of deen, the advice was that you must spend your time studying now. Don't spend your time too much in community work or other work, or too much spreading the message of Islam, because this time now is for you to learn. And the more you learn and you build yourself, the more effective you'll be later on. Because Allah has made a time for everything. So the time for this class is for learning. And your time when you go home and do your homework is for learning, and this is it's superior in the eyes of Allah. More superior than salah and dua and adhkar, because this is ibadah. This itself is an ibadah. Therefore in the hadith it says وَفَضْلُ الْعَالِمْ عَلَى الْعَابِدِ, and the superiority of the alim, the one who learns and knows, over the abid, over the worshipper, is كَفَضْلِ الْقَمَرِ عَلَى سَائِرِ الْكَوَاكِبِ, is like the superiority and the brightness of the moon over all the other stars. When the moon comes out, the stars disappear. Okay. But what is our relationship to the knowledge? Do you ask me? So knowledge is superior. But what is our relationship to knowledge? So for that discussion, I want to speak about the qalb. Because normally in like the Western idea of knowledge, knowledge, when you think about knowledge, think about the mind. You think about the brain. This comes from Western philosophy. In Western philosophy, the mind is separated from the body. From Descartes, the mind is separated from the body. The mind itself is like almost like one being, and the body is another being. It's not Islamic. In Islam, true understanding is actually in the heart. True ilm, true nur, true insight is actually located in the qalb, in the heart. So there's a world of difference between studying an Islamic science or studying a science within an Islamic environment versus in a non-Islamic environment. In a non-Islamic environment, you're just getting information and you're updating your critical abilities and you're learning to rationalize and argue, and that's it. But when it comes to ilm, true knowledge impacts your entire being. It impacts your heart, impacts your tongue, impacts your eyes, impacts your mind, impacts your feelings, impacts your interaction. It transforms you. This is ilm in Islam. We don't have a distance between the subject and the reader. Like in university, there's a distance. Did economics transform any of you? Increase your akhlaq. Even if you do ethical studies, they probably do nothing to you. Even if you do ethical studies in a university, because it's all academic, it's just rationalizations. In Islam, it's about transformation. This is the nature of ilm within Islam. And the root of a transformation lies where? In the heart. So when you think about the heart, what do you think about? Like in normal language, what words come to your mind? What does the heart do? The heart loves. What else does the heart do? It feels. What else? Give me more words. I'm sure most of you have been in love sometime. Or out of love again. I don't know. You know your stories. What does the heart feel? It feels love. It feels attachment. It feels longing. It feels closeness. The heart is one that has hopes and dreams. Things stir your heart. Things stir your heart. It feels pleasure, enjoyment. This is the heart. The emotional heart, the feeling heart. So one of the crises of our age is that our hearts have become dead. Our hearts, and we all struggle with it, no one's exempt from this. Our hearts have become unmoved. It's like it's all the same. It's all the same. So what do we call heart in Arabic? Qalb. But there's a verb, qalaba, which means to turn. And in the dua this morning we read that. We said, Ya muqallib al-qulub. So what you can do, what I like to think about is that if something is turning, it's almost like for me like a torch. Your heart is like a torch. So your torch is turning, it's pointing that way, and pointing that way, and pointing that way. But two things about the torch is what? The one thing, if it's pointing that way, it's not pointing that way. You with me? If it's pointing that way, it's not pointing that way. Therefore we say in the dua, Ya muqallib al-qulub, oh the change of hearts, make firm our torch, our heart, our light, make it firm on your way. We want your way, Allah. Number one. Number two, when the torch is shining like the human heart, it must point somewhere. Everybody somewhere. All those things there, love, attachment, longing, closeness, hopes, enjoyment, pleasure, people's hearts point somewhere. Meaning what? They could amass some wealth and their heart is pointing that way. Meaning what? That they feel love to that wealth. They feel attached to the wealth. Take it away, they'll be ruined. They feel longing for that wealth. Give them wealth, they want more and more and more. They feel closeness to the wealth. That's mine. I own it. I built it. They have hopes for that wealth. Some people have attachment to what? To whatever they enjoy. Maybe you're passionate about your soccer team, passionate about your rugby team. If they lose, nobody must, in a bad mood, no one must mess with you. If they win, and then you are a joyous person. Some people have attachment, their hearts are attached to their cars. Some people, their hearts are attached to themselves. They're so focused on themselves. They're so in love with themselves, about elevating themselves. So everybody's heart's attached to something. One of the questions of this year is, what is your heart attached to? And one of the signs of what your heart is attached to is what your tongue repeats. Because everything comes from the heart, exits by the tongue. Person, إذا أحب شيئا أكثر ذكره. If someone loves something, they frequently mention it. So one of the introspections for all of us is what's in our heart, what is actually moving our heart. It's a difficult question, but sometimes also you have to be honest with yourself. Like, this is actually the thing and this is actually the wrong thing. It's not about this, it's actually, I'm actually on the wrong path. That's part of knowledge, is to self-assessment. And why am I speaking about this all the time? Why am I researching this all the time? Why am I exerting my energy and my time and my wealth for this all the time? Why? Am I attached to the right thing? And obviously most frequently the heart's attached to what? Another heart. Another heart. And that's normal. Look at normal emotional love. But the one thing about emotional love, it's fickle. But the one thing of spiritual love is permanent. I'll give you examples that people get married, they're totally in love. They get divorced, they can't stand to each other. It's an emotional love. Whereas you think about the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's a permanent love. No matter what happens, no matter what in your life from birth to death, it's a permanent love. Nothing can come between that love. It's a different type of love. It's an ultimate, it's a strong love. So this is something we have to think about, is the qalb, is the heart, because it's changing. It's a fickle part of you, this heart of yours. It's always moving about. And what's worse also is that we live in a society where people are always targeting your heart. They want to put a hope and a dream in your heart. Why? Because the marketers know it's not about what you think, it's about what you feel. You with me? Marketing is not about what you think, it's about what you feel. What you feel. So they want to put a feeling in your heart of attachment and love, because if they have your heart, they have you. And if they have you, they have your wallet. They have your hard-earned money, because they have your feelings. So you'll buy a shiny piece of metal with 4 rubber tires, and you will like it so much you'll be willing to give up 4 years of your life. Because how long does it take to save for that car? So there's so much feeling. Finch my Toyota Corolla must upgrade now. So I'm not saying, mashallah, I'm not going to look at the parking lot, it's your own business. I'm just saying, that's how it works. The feeling is placed in your heart, the attachment, the longing. Then I have you, then I have your time, I have your wallet, I have everything, I own you. And I got you. And he said, yes, I will sign here 4 years of my life. Where can I sign? Bismillah. Dunya. It's madness. Madness. And you will be attacked all the time. Left, right, center, attacked all the time, just to people want to push feelings into your heart all the time. In Arabic it's called ghurur. Ghurur in Arabic is called deception. And one of the messages of the Quran is unveiling this shade of deception from your eyes. And once you're unveiled, you are free. Because when they can come with whatever they want, it means nothing to you. It means absolutely nothing to you. Like, you know what? You see things what they are. The power of the Quran. The power of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Of his words, of his life. And that's true freedom. Because for your heart to be captivated by that which is material is a heart which is enslaved. For your heart to be captivated by the one that is eternal, that lives and never dies, then your heart is free. And once you are free, nothing can harm you. Once you are free, nothing can harm you. What's going to harm you? If you have Allah, you attach to Allah, you long for Allah, you hope for Allah, you feel for Allah, you know you're going to meet Him one day. You're going to meet the people He loves. You're going to spend the place that He loves for eternity. When you have that, what is the tribulations of this dunya? What's the temptations of this dunya? It's nothing. It's nothing. Unveiling the truth. And we have so much deception nowadays. And one of the worst tragedies of a life, one of the worst tragedies is to come to your deathbed and to feel like you wasted your life. May Allah give us a good life and a good death. Just imagine the tragedy. You come to your deathbed 50, 60, 70 years old, and you're about to die, and you realize that most of your life, except a few moments, was wasted. Can you imagine that? On what? On takathur. Takathur. Takathur means accumulation of more and more and more. Alhaakum takathur. That this takathur will deceive you hatta zurtumul maqabir, until you visit the graves. Allah speaks about this. It's a liberation of the heart. So inshallah, just some spiritual homework for this week. We'll go into the hadith next week. Is really that if your heart changes, everything changes. If your heart's in the wrong place, your life's in the wrong place. Your heart's in the right place, your life's in the right place. And I'm not saying it's not like a switch. You're not going to butcher the first verse today in the last period, mashallah, my heart changes. It's a process. It may take years of your life. No instant solutions, instant taqwa. Well, I don't know, have any instant taqwa tablets here with me, no? I don't have taqwa tablets, you know what I mean? It's the process. We'll discuss the process inshallah, but you have to go through it. So don't get despondent if you're struggling spiritually. We're all struggling spiritually. May Allah help us all. We are weak beings, we are feeble beings amongst the Almighty, the All-Merciful. May He shed His rahmah and His nur upon us. And may He change our... That's the beautiful thing of dua, the dua which I love. It's not about me changing my heart. It's like, Allah, you are the changer of hearts, not me. I'm too weak to fix myself. You, Allah, you fix me. And if Allah chooses to fix you, no one can stop Him. Not even you can stop Him. May Allah guide us all. May Allah give our hearts attached to Him and to that which He loves. Live lives that pleases Him. And when we meet Him eternally in Jannah, Allahu Amin. We carry on next week inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll be back at 25 past inshallah. 25 past 10 we'll be back here inshallah. Let's change to the slide.